You know, God's just nature was completely satisfied with the death of Jesus, a death payment for sin. God had left the sins committed beforehand unpunished because He knew that someday Jesus would die for all sin, past, present, and future, paying the death penalty in full. Jesus died so God could, listen to this, Jesus died so God could demonstrate His justice at the present time so as to be just and the one who justifies those who have faith in Jesus. The word justified isn't something we're used to hearing, but the word was a judicial term used in the courtrooms of Jesus' day. Meredith, if you'll come down the front, and then Ian and James, if you come around the front here, I want you to help me explain just what the Bible means when it says justified. Now remember how at the beginning of time, when God created man, man was innocent of all sin. Man was innocent of all sin. Man knew nothing of evil. He only knew and experienced God's goodness. And God was man's best friend. He would come and He would walk with man in the cool of the day. They had a fellowship, a friendship with each other. That was the way God created things to be. But then man turned his back on God, and he experimented with forbidden knowledge. He lost his innocence. And when he did that, man became a sinner. Man became a sinner that was totally corrupted with the dead rat of sin. When that happened, God separated Himself from man, and He took off the mantle of a friend, and He put on the cloak of a righteous, a completely perfect judge. As judge, God found man guilty of a crime, breaking God's holy law, sinning against a holy God. Man stood before a frowning God, accused and convicted as a perpetual, incurable lawbreaker. The sentence was death, eternal death. But then God descended from His judgment seat, and He put back on the mantle of a friend. He put on the mantle of the perfect, pure, sinless Jesus. And God left the lofty heights of the judgment seat, and He descended as a God-man Jesus to stand with us in front of the bench. He had only one purpose: to remove this filthy cloak of sin and take it upon Himself to pay our sentence of death for us. And He did just that. Bearing our sin, He died in our place. In so doing, He met the death requirement mandated by
the law of sin and death.
And He also showed us supreme love.
Greater love has no one than this, that He laid down His life for His friends.
Now we no longer have the sentence of death hanging over us. Jesus paid our sin debt. The sin is gone. But you know what? Not only did Jesus take from us our corrupt garment of sin, but when He did so, He gave us His clean cloak of righteousness. Now when God, the just judge, looks at us, He no longer sees us as sinners, but He sees us clothed in the purity of Christ. And on that basis, God declares us righteous in His sight, or justified. And that's what the Bible means when it says justified. It means that God has declared us righteous.